On the 3rd of June 2011, a school trip to award the pupils of Pleasant Tech Academy for finishing off the school year ended in an unpredictable tragedy when an 11-year-old girl suddenly fell from an amusement park Ferris wheel. Although originally labelled as a freak accident, speculation ran rampant throughout Pleasentville, and a few years after the incident, the girl's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Moris Pier, claiming that the park showcased a multitude of failures that could have prevented the young girl's tragic demise. This led to a finger-pointing battle, which still has people split to this day. This is the infamous story of the giant wheel disaster. Our story takes us to Wildwood, New Jersey in the United States, which is home to Moris Pier. A traditional coastal amusement park, Moris Pier opened in 1969 and was founded by brothers Bill and Will Morey. Since the late 1960s, the park has continued to grow and now has more than 100 rides across its 3 piers and water parks. Moris Pier is very popular within the community for its restaurants, bars, beautiful location, and of course, their vast variety of exciting rides. Rides such as the Sea Serpent, a looping roller coaster which travels at a speed of 55 miles per hour, the Atmosphere, which ascends to a height of more than 140 feet before plummeting to the ground, and of course, one of their most famous rides, the Giant Wheel. The Pier's Giant Wheel is one of the largest Ferris wheels on the East Coast. The Giant Wheel stands at an intimidating 156 feet and provides beautiful views of the coastline. The ride opened in 1985 and was built by Dutch manufacturer Vekoma. The Ferris wheel even has a brunch option called Breakfast in the Sky, where you can eat your breakfast whilst taking in the stunning scenery at the top. The Giant Wheel was a fan favourite in the park at the time, and one that 11-year-old schoolgirl Abiah Jones couldn't wait to go on. Abiah Jones, also known as Bia to her friends and family, was born on the 23rd of May 2000 to parents Byron and Tawanda in the Atlantic City Medical Center. She was described as being a lovely, quiet young girl. Her cousin said she was very sweet, very warm-hearted. She could make you smile just saying one word. She went on to say, Abiah was never a negative person. She was always smiling, and she had a very pretty smile. She was known to be a good child who was very close with her family. She would often call up her grandma talking about their day and how much they love each other. This was no different on the morning of the 3rd of June. Before she went on her school trip, she called her grandma, sadly for the last time. Her grandma stated, I thank God for allowing us to talk that morning, because we didn't know what was to come. Abiah Jones attended Pleasant Tech Academy, a Pleasentville charter school run by the association in accordance with a charter approved by the New Jersey Department of Education. At the end of the school year, Pleasant Tech Academy planned a school trip to Moris Pier to honour its students for a good academic year. The school trip took place on the 3rd of June 2011. Abiah got onto the big wheel at approximately 12:20, and the wheel began turning a few minutes later. Where Abiah Jones was sat was now approximately just over halfway round when disaster struck. Seemingly out of nowhere, Abiah fell out of her car and plummeted towards the ground. Abiah landed near the passenger loading area of the ride. Witness Travis Smith said, all of a sudden, I see people rushing towards the Ferris wheel, and I was like, what's going on? And I ran over, and all of a sudden, I see like this towel, and I was alarmed. Abiah was now receiving first aid from emergency personnel, who then transported her to Cape Regional Medical Center. Sadly, she died at about 1:15 p.m. Meanwhile, the school promptly loaded back onto the bus and left. The ride was shut down, and an investigation was then launched.
Hi, Ann. Good morning to you. Look, so many of our children will visit amusement parks this summer across the country, which is why these parents want you to listen so closely to their tragic story. Their 11-year-old daughter, Abiah Jones, came here to this amusement park in Wildwood, New Jersey, as you mentioned, on a school trip. She got on that Ferris wheel, that huge Ferris wheel, all by herself. and then sadly plunged to her death. No one knows why, but this morning an investigation is underway and the state of New Jersey is already taking action.
In the beginning, the police stated that it might have just been a freak accident. One witness claimed that Abiah was walking over to see over the ledge, where she fainted and fell over. The Ferris wheel was checked by relevant personnel, which found absolutely nothing wrong with it, so the majority of people assumed nothing more, until 2 years later. On the 3rd of June 2013, 2 years after the death of their daughter, Abiah's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Moris Pier. They based their case on 3 important factors. The first was that Abiah was riding alone, which according to Moris Pier operating procedures is not allowed. They believe that if she was riding with someone else, she may not have stood up. They claim that there were also heavy winds on that day which made the ride unsafe, and that the people boarding the ride were never warned. They finally argued that the safety of the ride's car was inadequate. According to them, locks on Abiah's car door were not locked when the girl fell. This was juxtaposed by the investigators, who stated, "The department inspected gondola number 3 and found no mechanical defects. The doors properly latched, and the railings around the seat were in sound condition. All of the other gondolas on the ride were also checked, and no malfunctions or defects were found."
Her parents say whatever happened, there were no seatbelts, no restraints, no cage to keep her inside.
It's the law. You must put your seatbelt on while operating a motor vehicle. So why shouldn't a Ferris wheel have a restraint? That's going 156 feet, I believe, in the air.
Do you think if there were restraints, your daughter would be alive today?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, the amusement park defendants claim that the school were to blame. They also claim that the school trip was badly organised, although this was later thrown out by the judge. Unfortunately, the results of this case were never published, meaning I don't know if they won their case or not, but honestly I can't imagine they did. And this is because of what investigators stated. They continued to say that it was a freak accident and it was near impossible to fall if she was seated properly, which sadly, Abiah wasn't. Since the incident, Moris Pier has increased the minimum height restrictions and has also doubled down on the 2-person rule. To give my personal opinion, the accident happened because Abiah stood up. Maybe she wasn't aware not to because she wasn't told, or maybe she did it out of panic. Either way, a young girl tragically lost her life and it could have been avoided. Let me know your opinions below, but please be respectful whatever it is, in respect to Abiah's family. Abiah was buried at Seaside Cemetery on June the 8th, where hundreds of people including their friends, family and classmates attended. May she rest in peace, and as always, thank you for watching.
Most beautiful person you ever want to meet.
I was blessed to be a mother. She was a blessing.